Sometimes staring at a patch of water can actually get quite exciting. This was one such occasion. Right then, one of my cameras is now deployed near the main lodge, and the GoPro is currently sat on a stick above the river on continual record, hoping to see what happens. So I'm now reduced to using the phone for my video. What I'm going to do now is get back closer to where the car is and set up and wait with the long lens and see if I can get anything. So this is one of those ones that probably won't work, but it's worth a try. The longest time I ever spent just staring at water was doing a whale and dolphin survey between Tórshavn in the Faroe Islands and Shetland. 16 hours staring at a flat, calm sea in really good cetacean-rich waters and seeing nothing, not even a porpoise. And looking for wildlife can be frustrating. A few years ago, a certain beast returned to my area, and it was quite obvious that they'd returned because you started to see things like trees that had been sharpened like pencils, and piles of sticks in the river with the sort of forming of dams. Some of them really very close to where I live, within 4 miles. And I tried to start taking photos of them, but it was difficult to get anywhere near them. Although they did seem to be following me around. My son brought one home from school for a weekend. I even had this fellow follow me around at one point, which was a little bit freaky. I even saw this one, but unfortunately it was well and truly stuffed. But I persisted. I spent time waiting around in suitable habitat, and eventually I did get lucky, but not with the species I was after. I did start running into the whippet-tailed river ned, as I've heard them called, otters, quite regularly, and sometimes they even posed for photos. But I persisted and kept on trying to see these wonderful beasts until eventually I managed to start getting a few shots. Okay, not wonderful, but getting a little bit better as time went on. Had to be quite persistent and kept going, and yeah, had great fun. This one swimming across a large lake, and this one, shame it didn't come out better, but mocking me from between a tree branch. But it all came together one day when I was lying underneath a large conifer next to a dam. One swam out and just swam past me leisurely, giving me the opportunity to take a series of nice photos to really try to sort of capture a bit of sort of action as it swam past. This was a great opportunity, but slightly annoying because at one point I saw one sitting on top of the dam, and it was an image that went into my brain, and I really wish I could get it on film. I did get a couple of other interesting shots. This individual actually came out of the water, walked up to a group of us, and was feeding happily within a couple of metres. Unfortunately, it was nearly dark. This one was on the River Tay. Now, the image of the beaver sitting on its beaver dam was one that kind of captivated me. It was an image I really wanted to get, but unfortunately it was hard to do. If you try and photograph beavers early in the morning, they don't tend to stick around. They tend to have a belly full of food. They swim back to where the lodge is, go in and then disappear, never to be seen again. The evenings are much better. In fact, you can sometimes sit next to a lodge and you can hear them inside moving around and sloshing with the water. You can even hear a plop when they descend into the stream and come out. The only thing is, it's quite difficult to do with sort of family commitments and work to be there early enough to be in position before they leave the lodge and you can get some images. But this is a site that I've known around for quite a while. I know where the lodge is, and I know where the main feeding area is. And in between the two, there are a couple of dams. So I started coming up with a plan how to actually get some images. So I'd set up the cameras, including this one, and just had with me the 300 2.8 Canon big lens on a tripod as I waited disguised under a tree.
Camo gear on, camera ready, waiting in case a beaver turns up. Chances slim. It's now early September. Really, I should have been here in June, maybe next year. I'm just trying a few things out. I've got a camera set up with a remote trigger. I'll set the GoPro up, just basically point at the river on a fairly low setting, just to record until it runs out. And I will see if anything turns up here. If it does, I will be a happy boy. Over and out.
So after waiting a while, I'd more or less given up. However, as the GoPro showed, an animal was heading in my direction, and eventually it popped up onto the dam.
Genuinely, it worked. A beaver, very small one, just crawled over the dam, sniffed some vegetation and then swam along. Yes!
Sometimes wildlife photography can be quite exciting. Probably not as exciting as I was making it out to be there, but that photo took a lot of planning, and yeah, I was happy with the result. I thought that would probably be it for tonight, but it wasn't. Sneaking along the bank was a slightly larger beaver heading in my direction. So thankfully I waited, but I really didn't think I was going to get anywhere.
Well, this has worked remarkably well. I've been staking out this dam, and I suspected the beavers would cross it at some point. And I've just had two of the smallest little kits, almost certainly, well actually certainly this year's young. Both have crawled across the dam in the corner. The first one, I had the camera set up in portrait mode, so I wanted to try and get some reflections. Never really thought it'd work. Anyway, decided to put it in portrait mode. Got a few pictures. It's quite dark, and then settled in and waited. Decided to see what would happen, so waited for a long time. Eventually I decided to give up. So I got up and walked over to the dam looking for some ideas for the future for how to get some more good photos and some interesting film. When I spotted there was a beaver just behind the dam. And of course I thought I'd blown it, so I snuck back into position. And I'm sure it wouldn't have worked, but a couple walked past. And the beautiful thing is, the beaver probably thought that the couple was me. So I waited for a while and then spotted a movement, and because it was really dark, and for the video as well, I put it into film mode and took some photos. But yeah, this is what the camera saw. I love it when a plan comes together. Now while you watch that, I'm going to start packing away, because I've got to go and retrieve the other GoPro and my other camera before it gets too dark. I'm also going to scout out for another couple of things planned, but Yeah, this has worked really well. That's really good. Somewhere that I will come back to. Right, I'm going to go and get my gear. Right, well it's 2 days later. I'm back at the Beaver site, hoping to get some more good views. And this time, I brought Ollie along. So we'll see what happens.
While the photography the second evening didn't really work, we did manage to capture this with a GoPro that had been set up overlooking the small dam. I have to say I was rather pleased with it, but this is a species I'll continue trying to get better images of. So hopefully next year I'll have some more better content. I had a few videos in the pipeline, but for the first time I'm going to say it, please like and subscribe for more content. Hope you enjoyed this little Riverside Odyssey. Thank you for watching.